watching NBC 24 News at 6 with Dane Murray, Ryan Cummings, and Kimberly Newman.
Breaking news tonight. Right now, the Toledo Fire Department is battling a large fire at an apartment complex in Uptown Toledo.
That's where we find NBC 24's Jim Nelson. He is live there at the scene. So, Jim, what can you tell us so far?
Well, Ryan and Dane, crews were sent here to this apartment complex in Uptown Toledo a little before 4:30 this afternoon. To give you a better idea of where we are currently standing in the parking lot of the attic on Adams, right in the heart of Uptown. At this point, not every resident in that apartment building has been accounted for. Fire Chief Luis Santiago telling me that it was occupied at the time of the fire. In fact, crews, once they entered into the building to attack the fire, had to actually be pulled out due to deteriorating conditions. I want to show you kind of what the scene looks like right now as we take a look at this thick, heavy, dark smoke billowing from that building over Uptown Toledo. That has caused some concern as well. Wind gusts adding to some of the problems here. The fight now taking place from the ladders and the ground. Again, as crews continue to put water onto this apartment complex, we're told that there was some concern about an adjacent building where some people were maybe on the roof. A lot of evacuations having to take place because of, the conditions in the structure itself, and as you saw from that smoke, exactly what's happening. And actually, let me step out one more time and let's get an extreme wide shot of what we're seeing right now. Again, you're seeing those crews continue to battle this blaze. There have been no reports of injuries, but again, as I mentioned, Chief Luis Santiago did mention that not everyone has been accounted for just yet. That's something that crews are working on right now with the landlord of this building. We will continue to follow this story throughout the night. Any new information will be available on our social media outlets as well as NBC24.com. Reporting live in Uptown Toledo, Jim Nelson, NBC 24 News.
You're watching the Weather Authority, NBC 24.
Meanwhile, as Jim said, the winds adding insult to injury to those fires up in Uptown Toledo. We have storms rolling through the southern half of our viewing area. Right now, weather hazards that are active for us. A severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Woods and Dusky counties, and another one down in Hancock County with a storm directly overhead for Findlay. Notice this red box issued just over parts of Hancock County is also a flash flood warning. We are picking up anywhere from a half an inch to a full inch of rain in a matter of just 20 minutes out there. So heavy rainfall, flooding on the roadways. Better to stay indoors for the rest of the evening hours tonight. And that way you can stay cool as well. In those areas that have experienced some thunderstorm activity here this evening, it has cooled things down just a little bit. That rain-cooled air is still very muggy, but I promise it feels more comfortable to be in the 70s and 80s and to be muggy than to be in the 90s with those high levels of humidity. That's what's happening in Toledo, where we haven't seen a single drop of rain. Meanwhile, just overhead for that area with a severe thunderstorm warning active until 6:45 tonight. We have showers east of Bowling Green, now moving through Rising Sun and parts of Bradner, and our secondary band. Heavy storms north of Findlay and just overhead for the Flag City there. Incredibly heavy rain. And as you can see on the map here, numerous bolts of lightning. Today is not a day for you or the kids to be in the pool. I'll have more details on what this means for the rest of our Tuesday coming up.
New at 6, a man is dead following an early morning fight with a building manager.
And Toledo police say that manager has not been charged with anything. It happened around 2 this morning on East Broadway. CPD says a resident called the building manager after seeing 44-year-old Travis Perkins asleep on the balcony. The manager confronted him and the two started fighting. That's when the manager shot Perkins and he later died at the hospital.
Bond is set for a murder suspect accused of shooting and killing Heather Bogle. Daniel Myers will stay behind bars unless he can come up with $2 million. He is also facing the death penalty. Myers is charged with aggravated murder, aggravated robbery, kidnapping, and tampering with evidence. He pled not guilty.
Get to capital murder, it's not just aggravated murder. You also have to have specifications in the indictment. In this case, there are 2 other serious crimes that were alleged that were part of the murder, kidnapping and aggravated robbery. That's what makes him eligible for the death penalty. We have to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt in order to get to that stage.
Right now, Myers does not have an attorney.
An update now to a story that we brought you back in April. A former Springfield high school teacher faces up to 20 years behind bars. Today, his victim asked the judge not to impose the maximum sentence. Kyle McKinch is accused of having sex with the female student between January and August of last year. His sentencing now pushed back until next week.
New at 6 tonight, an Ohio law passed last year says you can break into a vehicle to save pets.
Veterinarians say it only takes a matter of minutes for animals to overheat in a hot car, but you can help them. NBC 24's Marcus Espinosa explains how long you need to wait and what to do before you break that window.
This is my dog, Cooper. He is a 2-year-old puggo, and right now we're sitting in a hot parking lot in a fully air-conditioned car, and we're trying to show the dangers of what it can do if you leave an animal in a hot car.
Hundreds of pets die each year from being left in hot cars. That's according to the American Veterinary Medical Association. However, due to a law that just went into effect last August, it's now legal for someone in Ohio to break a car window in order to save a pet or child.
Animals are a very important thing to people. They're man's best friend. So I would not like it at all.
Ohio Senator Frank LaRose co-sponsored the bill and said he wanted to give people the ability to take action.
It's a bill to protect children and pets in blocked hot cars during the summertime, or for that matter, cold cars. It basically is a chance for a good Samaritan to do the right thing and rescue a child or an animal out of a dangerous situation without fearing legal liability.
Sarah Starkey is the associate veterinarian at Shoreland Animal Hospital here in Point Place, and she says dogs don't cool off the same way as people do.
They don't sweat, so they have to pant to get off the excess heat. So they can pant and pant and pant, but if that air they're taking in is hot, then their temperature can just keep going up and up.
She agrees if you've tried everything else, it might be time to take action.
I would say if it's been at least 10 minutes and you tried to go into either the store, calling the police officers, seeing if you can get somebody to help you. If not, if it's been 10 minutes, I say you're safe enough to break the window then.
Now, according to the vet I spoke with there, if you rescue a dog out of a hot car, put them in some shade. If you have room temperature water, make sure to run that over them and try to get them to drink it as well. Live in the newsroom, Marcus Espinosa, NBC 24 News.
New at 6 tonight, after raising thousands of dollars for his church, one Waterville gardener's charity may be stopped after his vegetable stand was stolen.
NBC 24's Toy Creel joins us now live in Waterville. So, Toy, when did this happen?
So they found it on Monday morning. It was right here in the front yard. I know you can check out these boards behind me, but that's pretty much all that's left of the vegetable stand. Now, at first they thought it might have been picked up by a local business, but after a call, the family realized that the vegetable stand had been taken.
I'm known as Sweet Corn John in these parts.
86-year-old John Nicholson is many things: a musician, actor, active in his church. But out of all his passions, gardening has always been his specialty.
Sweet onions. My mother gave me a row in our family garden back in Missouri, and I planted a radish, green beans, and I was hooked.
He started a vegetable stand 8 years ago with just a picnic table, all the proceeds going to his church's new building campaign. As business grew, so did his setup. His son-in-law building a stand as a gift for his 80th birthday.
Well, my husband said, well, Dad, let's just build you a nice one.
So you could imagine Nicholson's surprise when Monday morning he walked out of his front door.
And my veggie stand was gone. I was in shock, and I just couldn't believe it was gone.
Disappointed. And we felt violated that someone would come and take his stand.
The family believes it was taken intentionally.
It took a huge effort. They couldn't have picked it up and put it in their pickup truck. It had to have been put in some kind of a trailer.
Nicholson doesn't have any ill will towards the culprit. He just wants the stand returned so he can keep donating.
I'm 86 years old. I don't know how many more years I'm going to be able to do this.
Now, the family says not only is the stand good for business, but it also has a lot of sentimental value. They said if you know anyone that might have been involved with this or yourself might have accidentally taken it, please bring it back. No questions asked. Reporting in Waterville, Toy Creel, NBC 24 News.
A long-awaited construction project about to begin at the edge of downtown Toledo. The price tag for this major overhaul.
Storms across the area, some marginally severe this evening. I'll let you know what watches and warnings are in effect right now and what's likely to last for the rest of your Tuesday evening. You're watching NBC 24 News at 6.
NBC 24 News at 6. Now, your Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist Kimberly Newman.
12 your time now, and we're looking at showers and thunderstorms mainly south of the Turnpike. It may be a bit of a head scratcher for those of you in parts of southeast Michigan and right along the Michigan-Ohio border, because you haven't seen any of this rain. Most of Williams County, Fulton County, and Lucas County have stayed entirely dry. That also includes most folks along our lakeshore communities. This is all very, very focused activity, which I expect will last for the next 3 hours roughly as we get into our Tuesday evening. Showers and thunderstorms now rolling through Holgate, although it does look like folks in Holgate and Florida are on the back end of things. That's also in addition to folks in Napoleon and parts of Henry County. I've heard from the farmers out there. The entire agriculture community is saying we need rain. Hopefully this answers some of those hopes and thoughts, but there is more on its way. So the next couple of days bring us a daily chance to see showers that look similar to this on our Sky Tracker radar. South of Bowling Green, you can see I-75 is kind of splitting the chance. Showers to the west, showers to the east, and most of these here covered by that severe thunderstorm warning. That's for parts of Wood and Sandusky County. I believe those are non-severe. That's to say that our winds are less than 60 miles an hour. We don't have a lot of chances of hail. However, down south, this is where I believe some more of our severe potential is. And even if it's not a severe storm, take a look at that lightning. Unbelievable. We've got lightning strikes up over 500, near 550, and that's just for the moment. I do believe some of these will be severe as we continue throughout the evening. You can track those chances with our NBC 24 weather app. It is an essential tool through these summer months because heat like this is going to spark daily storms. That's just the black and white of it. Now, we're back up near 90 on Friday. Surprisingly, that is our only dry day this week. As we move into the beginning of next week, a little relief is on its way. My Futurecast has a scattered chance of finishing showers tonight at 9:30. Still a chance of a small pop-up cell that brings us that heavier rain. So keep that in mind. The pitter-patter tonight will finally finish off before our 11 o'clock newscast. As we move overnight, some cloud cover still out there, and potentially with all of that moisture, a little bit of fog tomorrow morning. It is so muggy this evening. Keep the windows closed and the air conditioning on. If you're anything like me, you want that fan kind of moving the air around inside your house, and that's what you'll need for the next couple of days. We're back up in the upper 80s Wednesday, and while I do expect a chance of showers and thunderstorms, you can see they are very widely spread across the area. So most of the day Wednesday brings us dry conditions, but a couple of showers and certainly additional rain moving back towards the area heading into Thursday. Thursday, I don't expect thunderstorms, but rain showers will certainly be on the radar once again. We're hot on Friday, and that humidity unfortunately does stick with us. Dane, Ryan, I know the #1 place people want to be to cool off from this heat is in the pool, running through the sprinkler, finding that way to stay cool, but I've got to advise against that, at least while lightning is on the radar. 550 strikes right now.
Oh. Maybe good to just stay inside and keep that air conditioning on, as you said. Kimberly, thank you.
The Cincinnati student detained in North Korea is set to come home tonight. What his parents are saying they discovered about his physical condition.
Insulation. You are watching NBC 24 News at 6 with Dane Murray, Ryan Cummings, and your Weather Authority forecast with meteorologist Kimberly Newman. This is NBC 24 News at 6.
A long-awaited construction project is set to begin on the edge of downtown Toledo.
The city calls the Anthony Wayne Trail Gateway a new front door into the heart of Toledo. It broke ground today on the $4.5 million project. City officials say it will improve access for pedestrians and motorists, adding that construction will also take care of the notoriously deteriorating pavement.
We can make it safer, we can make it look nicer, we can implement the Toledo 2020 comprehensive plan. One of the most important things in that plan said we have to clean up the image as you approach downtown, the gateways into downtown.
Here's an artist rendering of what things will look like when finished. It also incorporates space for public art as well as a brand new sculpture. A young girl who is trying to prevent cyberbullying was honored for her efforts today. 11-year-old Madison Shook created a statewide anti-bullying campaign. Worsel's Bike and Ski Shop recognized her work and surprised her with a brand new bike. But the gift was special because it was presented to her by Julie Meeker. Meeker's daughter, 16-year-old Kayla Meeker, committed suicide after being cyberbullied.
I was being bullied and rumors started, so I just decided that I'm just gonna start something to help other kids.
Good for her. Kayla's siblings were also there to show support for Madison and thank her for what she is doing to prevent bullying.
Still ahead on NBC 24 News at 6, fiery response. Attorney General Jeff Sessions testifying about his part in the Russia investigation and the firing of James Comey. What he said to senators after being asked about that involvement.
Miss World Events, Tuesdays at 10 on NBC. You are watching NBC 24 News at 6.
Ohio police say the man they arrested today for a triple homicide in Cuyahoga County may be responsible for 2 murders in another county.
George Brinkman barricaded himself inside a Brunswick home yesterday while being questioned by police. The standoff lasted 9 hours. Police say he may be responsible for the death of a mother and her 2 daughters found shot to death Sunday in North Royalton. Now authorities say he's also connected to the murder of a 71-year-old and 64-year-old about 45 miles away in Lake Township.
An American college student jailed in North Korea for 17 months is set free and headed home to Cincinnati. But the parents of 22-year-old Otto Warmbier say last week they found out he's been in a coma since last March. North Korean authorities detained him at the Pyongyang airport last January. He's accused of trying to steal a political banner at his hotel. Warmbier was sentenced to 15 years hard labor after a trial that only lasted an hour. It was the last time he was seen publicly. He is expected to arrive home later tonight in Cincinnati.
Another drama-filled day in Washington as Attorney General Jeff Sessions was grilled about his part in the Russia investigation, the firing of James Comey, and his dealings with President Donald Trump.
NBC 24 chief political correspondent Scott Thuman takes us to the testimony from Washington.
Well, this is yet another twist in this growing investigation, another big name put under the microscope regarding Russia. Many of the questions thrown at Jeff Sessions stemmed from statements last week by former FBI Director James Comey. Senators want to know about why Sessions recused himself from the Russia investigation, and if Sessions wasn't part of it, why did he have a role in Comey's firing? They're also curious why Sessions left the Oval Office to leave President Trump and Comey alone, who alleges that's when the president urged him to drop or slow the Michael Flynn investigation. Further, did he meet with a controversial Russian ambassador more times than he previously disclosed, and could they have been to affect the election? Sessions, a fiery response to that notion.
The suggestion that I participated in any collusion, that I was aware of any collusion with the Russian government to hurt this country, which I have served with honor for 35 years, or to undermine the integrity of our democratic process, is an appalling and detestable lie.
His appearance, though, today doesn't end the scrutiny. In fact, a couple of Democratic senators have asked the FBI to investigate and determine if Sessions actually committed perjury when he was back here testifying in January and said he hadn't had any meetings with the Russians. So a lot to sort through here. On Capitol Hill, I'm Scott Thuman.
Kimberly has another check of that SkyTracker radar coming up next.
Retailer at Tempur-Pedic.com.
You are watching NBC 24 News at 6.
With a final look at our strong storms out there, I'm meteorologist Kimberly Newman. Our SkyTracker radar showing you over 600 bolts of lightning right now. It is unbelievable. Very intense right now. Many of these strong to severe storms will continue to persist. Directly overhead, 4 parts of Hancock County, southern Wood County, and now moving out of Henry County. We do now have a flash flood warning in effect for Hancock County. Doppler radar indicating that thunderstorms producing heavy rain could potentially bring up to 2 inches to the area. And of course, with that, look closely for puddling on the roadways and travel nice and safely here throughout the rest of the evening hours tonight. Have the coach on speed dial because I have a feeling, Dane and Ryan, that many of those kids will not be out there on the soccer and baseball fields this evening.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, Kimberly, it's interesting that we also broke that 60-year record today. Record high that I just saw your tweet.
Isn't that unbelievable? So, yeah, 96 degrees today's high, and that was in between hours. I only ever saw a high on the map of 94, so an incredibly hot day sparking these storms.
All right, Kimberly, thank you. That is your local news at 6 tonight. Thanks for joining us. For news anytime, check out NBC24.com.
We'll see you back here tonight at 11.